All right, football fans, how we doing? So, welcome to this week's picks video. I think this is the NFL Week 10. Doing things just a little bit differently than last week. Matthias is still here, and he has kind of commandeered the downstairs basement with just randomly watching whatever he wants on the TV with movies and whatnot. That's where I record. That's where I record. So we're upstairs in the hockey YouTube live stream room. But this is a football game, football video. You know what I'm trying to say. Let's get this going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow along with my article. I wrote the picks article yesterday when I was still recovering from the food poisoning, which is why this video is a little bit late. So I'm going to leave the link in the description for this video if you want to follow along with the article. Going with the same scores that I picked yesterday, and then I'll just give a little bit of commentary on each game. So, yeah, I can't minimize. All right. Now in terms of last week I was 6-7, which is not good. It's not good. All right. That brought my yearly total to 73, 62, and 1. So I'm still staying above 500. It's nothing to brag about though. All right. The first game yesterday, my pick was Falcons 33, Panthers 24. Based on what we've seen the last few weeks, that's kind of what I would have expected. I also wrote that this might be the best Thursday night game of the year. It doesn't look like that's what happened. You never know what to expect from either one of these two teams. This pretty much puts the Falcons smack dab in the actual real playoff contender discussion, which if anybody has the ticket from Vegas where they picked the Falcons to make the playoffs at the beginning of this season, please just mail it to me. You don't need the money, and I do. Second game of the week I got here is I got the Seahawks 19 and the Bucks 17. This game is actually being played in Munich, of all things. I saw it was an early game. I thought maybe it was in the UK, but it's actually in Munich. So I mean, I guess we're just playing games wherever and whatever now. My pick still stands because it's going to be like 50 degrees during the game. Seattle's kind of used to that. Tampa Bay is not. So I figure in a close one, Seattle takes it 19-17. Next game I have here are the Bears 44, the Lions 20. Fields is going to break his record this week. He's going to break his own record from last week. He'll break it this week. The Lions are impossible to figure out. Okay, they've given a lot of teams a hard time. They beat the Packers, but the Packers aren't really good, so you don't know where to go with that. The Bears, they're kind of an enigma because you see what Fields is capable of, and yet they haven't been able to put the whole thing together into one nice, neat little package. But I think they'll get this done. This could be one of those, it could be more than 44-20. It could be like 44-43. This could really end up being a no defense type of game. But I think in the end, Chicago takes this. Now, the next game I got here is no big surprise. The Dolphins 19, Browns 17. Now, what I say in the article is the win is a win is a win. The Browns missed a chip shot at the end. Never underestimate Miami's ability to take a team that they should be and either lose to them or almost lose to them. Like every Dolphin game, if you've watched it against the team that we should be, if you remember where we almost lost to Pittsburgh a few years ago, where I think it was Antonio Brown stepped out of bounds in the last play of the game after they had all those laterals and whatnot. It just pretty much seems like the majority of Dolphin games over the last decade end with us biting our nails at the end of the game, regardless of who we're playing. I don't see this one as any different. The Browns aren't exactly terrible. And, Miami has won what? We've won 2 in a row now, 3 in a row. So I'm not going to say we're due for a loss. This needs to become 7-3. But I do not trust this team completely just yet. Next game I got here are the Titans at 24, the Broncos 10. This should be the easiest pick of the week. This really should be the easiest pick of the week. The Titans, what are you guys exactly? Okay, you made the AFC Championship game, and then last year Tannehill kind of didn't look so good in the playoffs, and now Derrick Henry, he's still getting going, and you're starting to wonder though, like how many years in a row can Derrick Henry beat Derrick Henry? You start to wonder if the guy's going to eventually wear down from all the carries. A little bit of questions about his foot. He says he's okay. All right, whatever. So I can't quite figure out the Titans. Well, we know the Broncos are terrible. So Titans 24, Broncos 10. Oh, the next game. Do I have to? Do I have to pick this game? Buffalo 21, Vikings 17. I really, 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 9, 9, 9, 9 reallys want to pick Minnesota in this game. I haven't seen the injury update. Last I heard was what's today? Friday. Last I heard was Wednesday, where they were saying Allen might play. If he plays, they're going to win this game. If he doesn't play, I still think they're going to win this game. And don't ask me why. I just don't see Buffalo as a team that's just going to crumble in kaputs because their quarterback's out, taking into consideration they already lost last week. So even with Allen out, I have a hard time picking against them because this is not a team that really should be losing two in a row. Minnesota's a good team. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just gonna unfortunately pick Buffalo here, though I would love to see something different happen. All right, Giants 24, Texans 2, because I picked it because how else are you going to have fun with this game besides trying to figure out a possible scoregami? Uh, this should not be a close game. There's really nothing else to say about this game. I don't even know how Texans get the safety, but I'm just assuming that something good will happen for them because everybody deserves something once a game. But this game shouldn't even be played at this point. It should just be a pass for both teams. Next game is Chiefs 33, Jaguars 20. Um, don't be surprised. You see Jacksonville get off to a lead here, and then Kansas City come back and shove it right back down their throat. Jacksonville is one of those teams that some people thought might have improved a little bit. You're kind of wondering if and when Lawrence is ever going to be what everybody said he was going to be. Is it the rest of the team? Is it him? What's going on? We know the coaching in the past has not been good, right? And meanwhile, the Chiefs are still pretty much the Chiefs, even though they don't have some guy named Hill. I forget who he was, but they don't have him anymore. So they're still good, oddly enough. So now I'm going to pick the Chiefs here. Next game is I'm going to read you what I said in the article first, which I have no idea why I would pick either team, honestly, and that is the Steelers 17 and the Saints 10. In what is likely to be the most horrific, disgusting display of football, at least in its time slot, because the NFL these days has a lot of disgusting displays of football. It's going to be a bad game. If you're not a Pittsburgh fan and you're not a New Orleans fan, there's no reason to watch this game. And if you are fans of those teams, just really no reason to watch this game, especially for the Steelers. Okay. The weather's kind of nice, fall like weather around the area, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Philly. I live not too far from there. The weather's been kind of nice. The forecast from the weekends, like 55 and breezy and sunny. Go do something. Go pick cherries at a cherry. Go do something. Don't waste your time on Sunday watching this game. Next game is the Colts 21, the Raiders 12. Yes, I'm making a prediction that the guy who's never been a coach before is going to win the game in his first game because how else could this happen? There's no way that this story ends and he lost this first game. We all know the team is going to just get like ridiculously jacked up for this game because we're going to prove that Jeff Saturday can do the job. This just has that written all over. And their opponent couldn't have been any more handpicked. If there's any team that could blow a game, except the Dolphins, but if there's any other team except the Dolphins that could blow a game to a guy who's never coached before, it is the Raiders. So Colts 21, Raiders 12. Here we go. Rams 23, Cardinals 20. I picked one that I actually picked this one to go to overtime. I'll say that's the Rams 23, Cards 20. Wasn't that long ago when you would have been, considering this a possible NFC championship game preview. Not impossible that it could happen again, but neither one of these two teams resemble anything what we thought they were going to look like this year. The Rams certainly look like a one and done in certain terms of winning a Super Bowl. And the Cardinals, they just haven't really been able to put everything together, much like most teams. This is what the NFL wanted. They wanted parity. So you get teams that are good, like the Rams, but you lose a player, an injury, this a couple of little minor things can come around and knock you off from an 11, 12 win team to a 7 or 8 win team, and you're out. The parity is just so prevalent now that it's just little things that take good teams and knock them back down, which are just a couple of exceptions, like the Buffaloes and the Kansas Cities. All right, just a couple more games. Cowboys 26, Packers 10, and the 10 might be being generous. The 10, maybe it's a defensive touchdown because it's not going to be on special teams. That's for damn sure. Um, Again, this is another game. This is not one where there's no reason to watch because I'm sure there's plenty of people that are enjoying the downfall of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not one of them. I kind of like the guy. And anytime I watch an aged quarterback, except for Brady, anytime I watch an aged quarterback kind of get diminished and not play as well, it reminds me too much of the Marino last couple of years, and especially the last year. Reminds me too much of that. So I don't tend to poke at those guys. I don't get enjoyment out of watching Aaron Rodgers age and become not what he once was because you got a couple of guys. You got Allen, you got Mahomes, okay? And let's face it, Mahomes, in my opinion, ain't the most likable guy in the world. I'm not a huge Mahomes fan. I like Allen. And then in the NFC, I mean, Kirk Cousins. I mean, seriously, right? In the NFC, there's not a lot of combinations of good teams with great quarterbacks. It's just not really there. Fields is a guy you could root for, but none of them have the panache of the guys that when I was growing up. Not to harp on being an old guy, but it's at one point you had Warren Moon and Jim Kelly and Dan Marino and Ken O'Brien. You had all of these guys that were just damn good. And we just don't have that anymore. So I'm not enjoying seeing Rodgers slide and decline. But that said, I ain't picking the Packers either. Well, two more games 49ers 27, Chargers 24. San Diego is the Chargers going to, I always call them San Diego. Chargers going to find another way to lose. Let's just put it that way. They had how many attempts at field goal kicks last week to win the game? I believe that was against Atlanta, right? They went back and forth that way. The Chargers are a team that can find a way to lose. The 49ers are a team that somehow finds a way to win, despite, I mean, when you're going into the season and you think this is your quarterback and you're trying to get rid of this guy, and then this guy goes out. And now the guy that you're trying to get rid of, you're like, hey, I still like you. It's like when you dump your girlfriend for the hot girl, then the hot girl dumps you, and you crawl back to the pasty girl that you just dumped, right? It's she might give you some play, but that there's something going on in the back. Let's put it that way. Last game of the week, Eagles 33, Commanders 17. Yikes. Yikes. Judging by the order that I put this in, I'm going to assume that this is the Monday night game. Don't quote me on that. I didn't double check that. But if this is the Monday night game, yikes. They couldn't have anticipated this. So let's just give them that, right? They couldn't have anticipated that the matchup would be this discombobulated. Now the Eagles, we already know, I've already cracked the joke about how easy their schedule is. And yet every week you look at who they're playing and they're like, when are they going to play an NFL team? When are they going to play an NFL caliber team? I guess you could kind of call the Commanders an NFL caliber team, even if they don't really even know what the hell their name is anymore. Philadelphia is going to be one of the worst undefeated teams of all time, depending on how many games they eventually win. I'm not quite ready to put them in the category of the Steelers a few years ago who went 11-0 and then just massively took a dump. Let's just be honest here. I don't think they're getting ready to do that. And with the rest of the NFC, I mean, the Eagles could be the Super Bowl team. They could win the Super Bowl, but are they any good? Are they any good? I want to see the end. I'd like to see how the Eagles' record would be if they had to play Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets 2 times a year. You see what I'm saying? There's a big disparity. There's a big disparity there. So, all right, that's the picks for this week. Um, hopefully, hopefully I do better than 6 and 7 last week. That was not one of my better weeks. I've had some weeks where I've gotten 11 and 12 right, which is why I'm still above 500. I haven't had any horrible weeks. So I think I'm in a good pace to finish above 500. Like I said, I've been making the picks on flyingfluffy.com all year long. I've been writing that article all year long. Last week was the first time I started doing the picks video. I think next week, Tyus won't be here, so we'll go back to the regular format where I can give you guys the graphic on the screen. But I was just about ready to record, and he sat down to a movie, and I said, you know what? This is easier on me than asking him to turn off the movie. Trust me. He's almost been here 3 weeks. He's ready to go home to mama. He ready to go home to mama. And that's okay. That's all right. So, all right. Appreciate all the support. I will see you guys again tomorrow, the live stream, 3 o'clock. Yeah, Panthers play at 4. The live stream starts at 3. So I'll see you all then.